Hi everyone, welcome back for part 3. We're at the Center for Love and Light in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm Jamie Butler, and I'm here with Marco Pardi, and we're going to wrap up our initial question, which is why people are timid, afraid, nervous about sharing their near-death experiences and phenomena. We've covered religion, spirituality, science, and belief systems, but now I really want to talk about why people feel they just can't open their mouth and talk about this and be in a safe place with it. We talked at the beginning, people were, I was going to say the word nervous, or they just don't feel supported. They can't feel like they can share it with their family. Marco, you've actually had groups you've created that people can come in and talk about these things. I know groups exist in most cities, right? Many larger cities probably. There's the IANDS group, IAND, which stands for
International Association for Near-Death Studies,
which Marco was a large part of a few years back, right? So we covered kind of the big topics. Can we talk about social or cultural influence and maybe why people aren't comfortable talking about this?
Well, here again, it comes back to a kind of a cognitive dissonance that pervades particularly Western cultures. And that cognitive dissonance basically is holding two conflicting ideas at once. So when people talk about the nature of existence being physical, material, and so forth and so on, that's one side of it. But then the very same people will talk about afterlife and spiritual existence and so on, and they don't seem to be able to reconcile the two very comfortably. That means ultimately that when someone who is demonstrably in the material, someone who comes in and says, oh gee, I had this experience, when they're speaking of this other side of the equation, then it sets up certain conflicts. It's like, well, you can't have had that because after all, you're here. People don't die and come back, kind of thing.
Which is a topic for another day.
Right. Well, yeah.
You were talking before about the afterlife. The name itself not really fitting very well. That really we're having a spiritual experience throughout our whole life and even after the body ends. Do you sign up for that idea?
Absolutely.
So this whole near-death experience or this spiritual aha or phenomena could actually be explained that we have always been that way, but maybe just the body itself kind of encapsulates the experience in a different way?
Well, you know, there's a popular phrase, and I'm sure you've heard it many times, I'm a spiritual being having a physical experience.
I have.
And I think there's some validity to that, perhaps a great deal of validity to it. Again, if you look carefully at terms and concepts, which people frequently don't do.
No, we're spoon-fed it when we're kids and we just sign up for the ideas.
Well, if you look at concepts such as eternity, once again, here is something which cannot be visualized in a material sense. You can't draw a line and say, oh well, the line is infinite and it therefore represents eternity, because a line has dimensions. A line has a beginning and an end in as much as it has width. Even a point, if a line is proven unsatisfactory, well, how about a point? A point has dimensions. And when you have dimensions, then you have the area of not point. If you have not point, then you've just made this point exclusive, which rules out the concept of eternity.
Would you sign up for the idea that the spirit is eternal?
Oh, absolutely.
The things that's inside of our human body.
Absolutely. But here again, a certain caution has to be introduced, and that is that particularly in this area, you find people arguing what they think is a complete paradigm. And let me give you an example of that very quickly if I can. And that is that we frequently hear, especially in college groups and so forth, talking the bull sessions and all that kind of thing, we hear someone say, well, I don't believe in a God. And someone else says, well, what do you think happens after you die? As if the two are connected somehow. That's a mystery. But the common paradigm that is argued is there is a God, there is an afterlife. Or, number two, there is no God, there is no afterlife. And most people think that that's the full paradigm. Yeah. It is not. It is only half the paradigm. The third proposition is there is a God, there is no afterlife. Just because you have a God doesn't mean there has to be an afterlife. The fourth proposition is there is an afterlife, there is no God. Just because you have a spirit world doesn't mean you have to have a chief spirit. That's a projection of the human condition.
I bet even that was just hard for you to explain since you don't sign up for the term afterlife.
Well, exactly, yeah.
And language is so containing for us when we talk about these topics. Before we wrap it up, is there a way we can turn this around and you could say to someone who has had a near-death experience or a phenomena, spiritual, experience, a way to tell them how they can share it or be comfortable with it for themselves?
Oh, I think that's two different things, how they can share it and how they can be comfortable with it for themselves. The presumption is that anything that you have to share, you can supposedly find someone else to share it with. I think that presumption is seriously dangerous. But
how is that dangerous?
It's dangerous in the sense that, again, it can be misleading. I can tell you of an experience that I had. I can tell you of feelings that I have, but I can't hand you that experience.
No, you can't.
And I can't hand you those feelings.
I can
only give you a report.
Right.
Okay. So with that limitation fully understood, a person has to say to themselves, do I want to even venture an attempt to make a report? I'll give you an example.
He needs to go live on a mountain somewhere.
a commonly heard, perhaps the most commonly heard introduction to the attempt to communicate is this. Oh, I had this experience, and it's just beyond words. It's totally indescribable, and then they use words to try to describe it. I mean, here you go. There's the problem.
That's
right
a good
there.
attempt, though. At least announcing beforehand that they're not going to use the right words.
I think the
have
best,
this all the time.
Well, I think the best and most workable solution to this is to just understand that words are useless and don't even attempt it.
Oh my God! And that's why we're talking to you right now. All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. We really appreciate the opportunity. We'd love to hear more from you. If you would like to give Marco and I a topic to hash over, if you would like to hear something particular, let us know. You can go to withloveandlight.com and hit the contacts and reply to us. Or you can reply right there on YouTube, and hopefully we will touch base back with you. Thank you so much. Take care.